We know that the Holocaust, one of history's biggest crimes against humanity, was engineered by the Nazi regime. It is important to remember that the Holocaust was a complex and multifaceted event that impacted a diverse range of victims, including black people. While the systematic extermination of Jewish people was the central tragedy of the Holocaust, the Nazi regime also persecuted and murdered other groups deemed racially inferior or politically undesirable, and black folks were no exceptions. But history barely mentioned the black kids, young men and women who lost their lives during the Holocaust. Before World War I, several thousand black people came to Germany from Africa, North and South America, and the Caribbean. Almost all of these sojourners were men. A significant number of them came from Germany's African colonies, especially from Cameroon. During the colonial period, the Germans imposed strict migration restrictions for their colonial subjects. The German authorities wanted to limit the number of black permanent residents in Germany and curtail the growth of any significant black population there. Despite these restrictions, black men from the colonies and beyond often came to Germany to learn trades or engage in other work. They sought educational opportunities as apprentices and students. They also came to work as servants and sailors. A significant number came to Germany as paid performers, but ended up in exploitative public exhibitions called human zoos. The majority of black visitors intended on staying in Germany for only a brief time. Most black men and women who traveled to Germany returned home before World War I started. However, a smaller number chose to remain. Additionally, some black people who had not planned on staying in Germany were trapped there by the war. The outbreak of hostilities in 1914 limited international travel and migration within and beyond Europe. Even after World War I ended in 1918, most of Germany's former colonial subjects could not easily return to their places of birth or move abroad. This was because Germany lost its colonies in the post-war peace settlements. In the new post-war order, Germany's former colonial subjects had neither German citizenship nor access to passports or travel documents. They were stranded in Germany, then known as the Weimar Republic, which no longer had any formal connection to its former colonies. By the early 1920s, some of these men met and married local German women and had families. Many black German families lived in close proximity to one another in large cities, such as Berlin and Hamburg, as well as in Munich, Hanover, and Wiesbaden. Then, after World War I, the Treaty of Versailles stipulated the occupation of the Rhineland by the Allied troops, including black American troops, French colonial forces, some whom were from African and Asian colonies like Morocco, Senegal, and French Indochina. While stationed there, these soldiers formed relationships with German women, which produced a large group of mixed babies, known as the Rhineland babies. The presence of these troops, particularly the black soldiers, became the focus of racist propaganda campaign in Germany called the Black Disgrace. This campaign falsely claimed that the black French soldiers were systematically raping German women and children to delegitimize the French occupation. This propaganda depicted the presence of the black North African and Asian troops as a threat to the German race and European civilization. The Germans referred to these troops as B-grade troops. In the mid-1930s, Germany began to violate the Treaty of Versailles, and despite the violation, neither France nor Britain was prepared to respond militarily, and no action was taken to enforce the terms of the treaty. And on March 7, 1936, Germany fully reoccupied the Rhineland, a demilitarized zone according to the Treaty of Versailles. The children of black soldiers and German women in Rhineland were known as Rhineland bastards. What followed after Germany's reoccupation of the Rhineland region is nothing compared to what was coming. The first step of their plans regarding the Black Disgrace campaign was enacted: the social exclusion. Under the 1935 Nuremberg laws, mixed marriages were banned, and Jews and mixed-race children were stripped of their German passports and rendered stateless. These children and their mothers experienced social isolation and exclusion from certain parts of the German society. They faced racism from neighbors, family members, classmates, and teachers. As a result, some mothers placed their children in children's homes or gave them up for adoption. The Rhineland babies and their mothers were socially ostracized and often branded as children of shame. Then the Nazi regime enacted their second step: forced sterilization. The regime forcibly sterilized hundreds of these mixed children as part of their eugenics program aimed at racial purity. According to historian Yves Rosenhaft, professor of German historical studies at the University of Liverpool, stated that there were more than 800 Rhineland children in 1937. Following orders from Adolf Hitler in 1937, a special Gestapo unit was established to carry out this illegal sterilization program. Nazi racial anthropologists such as Wolfgang Abel and Eugen Fischer played key role in identifying and justifying the sterilization of these children. More than 380 mixed children were forcibly sterilized under the 1933 Law for the Prevention of Hereditary Diseased Offspring, preventing them from having children and thereby preventing future generations of mixed-race individuals. By 1941, mixed-race children were officially excluded from public school as part of the law that banned Jewish children. And during the height of the Holocaust, many of these children were sent to concentration and death camps. There are multiple documented experiences of black people imprisoned in concentration camps. These include Mahjoub bin Adam Mohammed, also known as Bayume Mohammed Hussein, who was imprisoned and murdered in Sachsenhausen. Mahjoub bin Adam Mohammed was born in 1904, the son of a Sudanese soldier serving in the German colonial army in German East Africa. When World War I broke out, Mahjoub joined his father's company as a child soldier. In 1929, Mahjoub decided to leave his work in the ship and stayed in Germany. In his adult years, he was accused of racial defilement, or Rassenschande in German, a law that prohibited sexual relations and marriage between Germans and non-Germans. Initially, that law was primarily applied to Jews. It was later extended to other groups, including black people. He was sent to the Sachsenhausen concentration camp in 1941 and died there nearly 3 years later. Gert Schramm, imprisoned in Buchenwald. Gert Schramm was a survivor of the Buchenwald concentration camp. He was born in 1928 in Erfurt, Thuringia, to his German mother Marianne Schramm and American father Jack Brankson, who worked for an American steel company on contract in Thuringia. Gert Schramm was arrested by the Gestapo in 1944 under the Rassenschande laws by the Nazis. He was 15 years old. His black American father was arrested in 1941 for violation of Nazi racial laws and sent to Auschwitz, where he was killed. Gert Schramm survived Buchenwald and returned to Eberswalde, Brandenburg, where he lived until his death in 2016. While there wasn't a centralized, systematic program specifically targeting black people for mass murder like the Holocaust against Jews, many black people, including children, were imprisoned, abused, and killed by the Nazis. Black individuals and families found themselves in workhouses, prisons, hospitals, psychiatric facilities, and concentration camps where many died. Some were executed in mass killings, but history tends to forget them. If you want to continue to learn more unpopular black history, subscribe to our channel.